where shadows speak and fears meet. Welcome to the Queen of Mystique. Ever have those times when the most ordinary places hold the strangest memories? Well, Walmart, of all places, has that spot for me. It was just another weekday evening around 6:30. The sun's glow was turning amber, and there was that usual post-work rush. I'd come to pick up some essentials, milk, bread, and maybe some of those chocolate chip cookies I had no business eating. As I pushed my cart past the bakery section, I noticed a man, perhaps in his late 40s, with a scruffy beard and a misfitting blue Walmart vest. He was intensely studying a loaf of bread as if deciphering its existence. Our eyes met. I nodded, receiving a too long stare and an unsettling smile in return. It wasn't overtly threatening, but my instincts raised an eyebrow. The store's radio played a mellow tune, and I continued shopping, though a bit more aware of my surroundings. By the fresh produce, guess who? The same man, now deeply contemplating an apple. I never saw him doing typical Walmart employee tasks, just observing things. As I passed the electronics, there he was again, this time examining a pair of headphones, but his gaze fixed on me. The coincidence was turning into a pattern, and I felt that prickly sensation of being watched. In the snack aisle, I mustered the courage to confront him. "Can I help you?" I asked, attempting to be casual but firm. His response, while soft, was loaded with creepiness. "I'm just making sure you find everything okay." He stepped closer, his voice lowering. "You come here often, cutie." That did it. Unsettled, I left my cart and made my way straight to the checkout. Glancing back, he was there, just standing, watching, his presence looming larger with each turn I took. After checkout, I stepped into the parking lot, with that anxious feeling of being followed. Sure enough, his silhouette grew steadily larger in the reflection of car windows. Panic started to bubble, so I decided on a tactic. Pretending to answer a call, I loudly said, "Hey, I just left Walmart. See you in a minute," pretending I was on the call with someone important. His step faltered, taking me a few seconds. Using this window, I made a beeline for my car, locked the doors immediately upon entering, and drove out like a bat out of hell. Looking in the rear view, he stood in the middle of the lot, simply watching. The next day, I reported the incident to Walmart's management. They were alarmed and informed me no one fitting that description worked there. To this day, the memory of that experience gives me the creeps. I hope I never have an encounter like that ever again. I had always been something of a night owl, so when a position for the graveyard shift opened up at our local Walmart, I jumped on the opportunity. The quiet of the night shift was a welcomed change from the day's chaos. Little did I know it would soon become a time I'll remember forever. A few weeks into my late shifts, I started noticing a man who seemed to always be there. Middle-aged, average height, with graying hair, he wore glasses that reflected the overhead lights, obscuring his eyes. He'd never buy anything, only observe. The first time I saw him, I figured he was just a nocturnal soul like myself, perhaps wandering to pass the time. But then I began to see him every shift, always lingering just at the edge of my vision. It was subtle at first. When I'd help a customer, he'd be a few aisles away. When I'd go to the storage room, I'd spot him at the end of the hall. Always out of direct interaction range, but close enough for me to feel watched. One night, mustering some courage, I approached him.
"Evening. Seems you're here often. Anything specific you're looking for?" I asked.
He just gave me a half smile, his eyes hidden behind the glint of his glasses. "Just observing," he whispered and walked away. Discussing this with my coworkers only earned me raised eyebrows or chuckles. They said it's just the eerie feel of the late shift getting to me, but my gut told me otherwise. I decided to confide in a security guard friend, James. He reviewed the CCTV footage from the past few nights and found something chilling. The man would enter the store just minutes after my shift started and leave just before it ended. In the footage, he seemed to constantly shadow me, always a few steps behind or in a parallel aisle. What's more, he'd come in and leave through the employee's entrance, a door locked to outsiders. Feeling the weight of this new revelation, I approached my manager about the situation. I showed him the CCTV footage that James had pinpointed. He looked equally concerned, saying he had never seen the man before and couldn't understand how he had access to the employee's entrance. My manager promised to watch out and even considered changing the security codes for the staff-only areas. He also offered to pair me with another coworker during my shifts, hoping it would deter the stranger if he decided to return. For the subsequent nights at Walmart, I was on high alert, yet the mysterious man didn't turn up. I didn't spot him the random times I peeked over my shoulder, and our cameras didn't catch him wandering around either. It was as if he had felt the net James and I were drawing around him and decided to vanish. The following months resumed their typical quiet rhythm. Though the man had ceased to appear, the remnants of my apprehension lingered. Eventually, the uneasiness outweighed the appeal of the night shift for me. Seeking a fresh start, I moved on to a different job. Now, when I look back, I humorously recount my brief stalker stint at Walmart, drawing laughs from friends and family. To that strange man, wherever you are, I hope to never, ever come across you again. I'd planned a simple trip to the Walmart in my area to grab a few ingredients for dinner. The lasagna recipe I was eyeing seemed perfect for the evening, and I needed just a few items. Little did I know that routine errand would be anything but ordinary. It was late evening, and the supermarket had few people, with just the hum of the air conditioning filling the space. My first stop was for tomatoes, so I headed to the produce section. While browsing, a man approached me, probably in his early 50s, balding with a fringe of salt and pepper hair. "Could you help me pick some ripe avocados? I'm terrible at it," he said. Obliging, I showed him how to choose the perfect ones. After the brief exchange, I moved on, but a nagging feeling told me the interaction wasn't over. Making my way to the pasta aisle, I felt eyes on me. Glancing back, I saw the same man at the end of the row, seemingly inspecting a pack of spaghetti. Trying not to let my imagination get the best of me, I continued shopping. But then it started to become undeniable. Whether I was examining cheeses or searching for the right kind of olive oil, he was always there, a few steps behind, watching. I tried to convince myself it was coincidental, but my gut screamed otherwise. Nearing the checkout, I noticed he had no cart or basket. His hands were empty, save for the avocados I'd helped him pick earlier. Trying to shake off the growing anxiety, I headed to the self-checkout area. I was midway through scanning when his voice, still eerily soft, broke the silence.
Let me take care of that for you.
Startled, I looked up to find him standing too close, reaching for my groceries. Politely declining, I hurriedly finished my purchase. I quickly gathered my bags and headed for the exit, eager to distance myself from the man. The cold air hit me as the automatic doors slid open, contrasting the store's warmth. But the relief was fleeting. I'd walked a few steps into the parking lot, my mind preoccupied with getting to my car, when I abruptly stopped. There he was, back at the exit of the store, his gaze fixed intently on me. The distance between us felt both vast and suffocatingly close. Panic surged as I recalled parking in a dimly lit area further from the store. As I got closer to my car, I noticed an old, raggedy pickup, about 6 spots down from mine. Its paint was chipped, and one of its headlights was flickering. An unsettling realization hit me. It wasn't there when I'd arrived, As my heart raced, the man began moving towards me. His initial leisurely pace suddenly quickened, each step more assertive than the last. Frantically, I dug into my purse, searching for my keys. I remembered tucking them into a side pocket earlier. Every second felt like an eternity. The sounds of the parking lot blur as my focus remained on that elusive side pocket. Finally, my fingers brushed against the cold metal of the keyring. By now, the man was alarmingly close. In one swift motion, I unlocked my car, tossed the groceries in the back seat, and jumped inside. My hands trembled as I fumbled to insert the key into the ignition. Just as I started the engine, a loud thud echoed from the passenger side window. He was there, his face distorted with a blank emotion. I didn't wait. Slamming the car into reverse, I sped out of the parking lot, sparing a quick glance in my rearview mirror. He stood beside his old car, watching me drive away. When I reached the safety of my home, the weight of the encounter sunk in. Shaken, I sat in the stillness of my car for what felt like hours, processing the harrowing experience. I was thankful for the small things, like the side pocket that held my keys, for they had made all the difference. I reported the incident to the police the next day, describing the man and his old vehicle. I haven't been to that Walmart since, and these days I drive out of my way to avoid going there. To me, it's not worth the risk of having another chance encounter with this person. Back when I was working at Walmart during its 24/7 days, there was a peculiar incident I still can't shake off. This occurred years ago before COVID, but the memory remains fresh, as if it happened just yesterday. I frequently had the night shift, a peaceful period where the aisles took on a serene quality under the dim overhead lights. It was a regular weekend shift, and very few employees were rostered on. As the manager on duty, I was essentially steering the ship alone. I often took walks around the store, ensuring displays were orderly and checking on the few overnight customers who'd occasionally wander in. On one such round, near the storage areas and employee-only sections, I noticed a man emerging from the restroom typically reserved for staff. Dressed in casual attire with a hoodie pulled up, he seemed out of place. It wasn't common for non-employees to use that specific restroom. Approaching him with a friendly tone, I inquired, "You seem to be here quite early. Everything all right?" He glanced my way, his eyes barely visible from under his hood. "Boss said I needed to change the light bulb in the bathroom," was his terse reply. That was odd. Firstly, there was no mention of any maintenance work to me, and secondly, such tasks were usually left to our designated maintenance crew. Feeling the situation becoming tenser, I persisted. "Which boss told you this? I'm currently in charge, and I haven't been informed about any light bulb replacements," I said. Without warning, he took off, moving swiftly past me towards the far end of the store. Startled, I quickly radioed our security personnel, asking them to keep an eye out for the man. Minutes passed, with no sight of him leaving the store. Using the store's intercom, I announced a mandatory staff check-in at the customer service desk, hoping to ensure everyone's safety. The security team eventually informed me that after scanning the CCTV footage, there was no record of the man either entering or leaving the store within the past hour. The mystery deepened. We decided to do a store-wide search. Aisles, back rooms, storage areas. Every nook and cranny was examined. Yet, there was no sign of the mysterious man. Unsettled, I contacted the local police. They arrived promptly, taking a detailed account of the events. They too reviewed the footage and searched the store, but came up empty-handed. While nothing was stolen and no one was harmed, the incident left a mark on all of us. Security measures were heightened, with additional cameras and locks installed. However, the man was never identified or seen again. To this day, when I recount this story, there's always a hushed silence. It's the not knowing that's the most unsettling. Was he really there for maintenance? Was it a simple mistake, or something more sinister? Even now, when I occasionally find myself in a Walmart at night, a part of me is on alert, not for the supernatural or imagined threats, but for the very real, very human mysteries that lurk in the shadows of everyday life. Thanks so much for tuning in and sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed this video and want more content like this, please subscribe. Your support means the world to me and helps me bring more spine-chilling stories your way. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and as always, stay safe out there.